At some point today, your heart will beat. You won't notice it. You never do. It will happen approximately 100,000 times before midnight, the same way it has happened every single day of your life, without your permission, without your awareness, without any effort from you at all. And then one day, it will stop. What happens next is one of the most precisely documented sequences in all of biology. Scientists, pathologists, and forensic researchers have mapped it in extraordinary detail. And what they found is not what most people expect. Death is not an off switch. It is a process. A long, layered, deeply strange process that continues, in some cases for years after the moment you stop breathing. And it begins not with silence, but with a cascade. Here is what happens to your body, second by second, from the moment everything stops. The first thing that happens is not what you think. Your heart stops, but your brain does not. For the first 30 to 60 seconds after cardiac arrest, the brain remains active, not winding down, not fading. In some cases, it surges. Neuroscientist Jimo Borjigin at the University of Michigan recorded something remarkable in dying patients. In the final moments after the heart stopped, there was a measurable spike in high-frequency gamma brainwaves. The same waves associated with heightened consciousness, vivid dreaming, intense focus. The dying brain, starved of oxygen, does not go quietly. It fires. Some researchers believe this may explain near-death experiences. The tunnel of light, the feeling of peace, the vivid memories. Not as something supernatural, but as the brain's last electrical storm before the power finally cuts. Within the first minute, your cells begin to notice something is wrong. Every cell in your body runs on oxygen delivered by blood. The moment the heart stops pumping, that delivery system fails. Cells that are highly sensitive to oxygen loss, particularly neurons in the brain, begin to malfunction within seconds. Within 4 to 6 minutes, brain cells begin to die at a rate that cannot be reversed without intervention. This is the window, the reason every second matters in cardiac arrest. After 10 minutes without oxygen, the brain damage is catastrophic. After 20, survival without severe neurological injury becomes virtually impossible. But here is where it gets stranger. Not all of your cells die at the same time. The body does not shut down as a single unit. It shuts down in layers. Organs fail in a sequence determined by how much oxygen they need to survive. The brain goes first, then the heart muscle itself, then the kidneys, then the liver, then the skin, which can remain viable for transplant for up to 12 hours after death. And some cells keep dividing. Hair and nail cells, long believed to continue growing after death. This turns out to be a myth. What actually happens is the skin dehydrates and pulls back from the hair follicles and nail beds, creating the illusion of growth. But other cells genuinely do continue. White blood cells can remain active for up to 24 hours. Some gut bacteria will continue functioning for days. Certain cells in the body, given the right conditions, will keep dividing long after every other system has collapsed. Your body after death is not a still thing. It is a system in chaotic transition. Within the first few hours, something called algor mortis begins. The body starts cooling toward the temperature of the surrounding environment. This happens at a predictable rate, roughly 1.5 degrees Celsius per hour under normal conditions, which is why forensic pathologists can use body temperature to estimate time of death with surprising precision. At the same time, something else begins. The moment the heart stops, the cells that were still alive begin to release their contents. Calcium floods into cells that can no longer regulate it. Enzymes that were kept safely compartmentalized begin to leak. These enzymes start digesting the cells from the inside. This is called autolysis, self-digestion. Your body, denied its oxygen supply, begins to consume itself. Then comes rigor mortis, ATP. The molecule that powers virtually every process in living cells depletes rapidly after death. Without ATP, the proteins that control muscle contraction can no longer function. Muscles lock in place. The body stiffens from head to toe, typically beginning 2 to 4 hours after death, reaching full rigidity at around 12 hours, and then gradually releasing over the following day or two as the muscle proteins themselves break down. A corpse is, for a brief window of time, rigid as wood, then soft again. The chemistry continues without you. By this point, hours to days after death, the bacteria that have lived in your gut your entire life begin to notice that the immune system is no longer watching. They spread, first through the intestinal walls, then into the bloodstream, then through every tissue in the body. They are not invaders. They are your own microbiome, simply no longer constrained. This process, putrefaction, is driven overwhelmingly by your own internal bacteria. From the outside, decomposition looks like destruction. From the inside, it is a population that has simply been released from its cage. The gases produced by bacterial activity cause the body to bloat. The skin changes color, green, then purple, then black, as hemoglobin in the blood breaks down and sulfur compounds form. The smell that emerges from a decomposing body is not random. It is a precise chemical signature, a blend of over 400 distinct volatile compounds, and it functions as a signal, drawing insects, scavengers, and eventually fungi and soil bacteria that will complete the process of returning what was once a living person to the earth. This is where forensic entomologist Patricia Wiltshire and others have shown something extraordinary. The sequence of insect colonization of a body follows a predictable ecological pattern. Blowflies arrive within minutes of death, sometimes before death, if the person is in the final stages. Their eggs hatch, the larvae develop at a known rate, and by studying the stage of insect development, forensic scientists can estimate time of death with remarkable accuracy. A dead body, left to the natural world, becomes an entire ecosystem. Hundreds of species, insects, fungi, bacteria, nematodes, cycle through in a precise ecological succession that takes weeks, months, sometimes years to complete. And at the end of this process, what was once a human being has been entirely incorporated back into the environment. The carbon that made your muscles, the nitrogen in your proteins, the phosphorus in your bones, all of it redistributed, all of it available again, all of it already becoming something else. You will not disappear, you will become. There is a concept in ecology called the biotically enhanced weathering effect, the idea that decomposing organisms actively accelerate the chemical transformation of the surrounding soil, making it richer, more complex, more capable of supporting life. A body returned to the earth does not simply vanish into it, it changes it. The ground where a large animal decomposes shows measurable differences in soil chemistry, plant growth, and microbial diversity for decades afterward. Your death will make something grow. Now go back to the beginning. Your heart is beating right now, 100,000 times today, without your permission, without your awareness. The same machinery that will one day stop is running perfectly, right now, in the background of everything you are thinking and feeling and doing. Most people spend very little time thinking about this, but the people who do, the ones who hold the reality of death clearly enough to feel it, tend to describe the same thing. Not fear, or not only fear, something closer to attention. The heart beats. You didn't ask it to. One day it won't. And between those two facts is everything you have ever been.